Hi everybody, welcome back to another very exciting Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I am your host, Jesus Ramirez. How are you guys doing this beautiful Monday morning? Well, Monday morning for me. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from. I hope that you're having a wonderful day no matter where in the world you are. So this is challenge number 5. We're starting the week number 2 of my round of Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges. Let me take a look at the chat and see who I have here. I have Claudia from Print My Soul, who just finished her stream. Good morning from Kentucky. Pam, good morning. Sam, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Exciting, yes, Angie, very exciting. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Chad from Seattle, awesome, cool. Oh, we got Turkey and Devon, UK. Actually, one of my good friends, Glenn Lewis, who also has a YouTube channel, really likes Devon in the UK, and he's often told me that I should visit it. Apparently, it's such a lovely place. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. We have a very exciting stream today. We're going to work with text. We're going to create some fancy text. In other words, we're going to make some bling text, that text that you see in like a rapper album cover. So with the diamonds and the fancy gold and all that cool stuff. Now, before we get into that, let me share my screen so that I can show you guys the most important page for the daily creative challenges, and that is this page right here. You can find it under behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. And in this page, actually, let me turn off my phone. Sorry, guys. And actually, in this page, you can click on the big blue button right in the center, the one that says hi, and then it'll say your name, take the challenge. And when you click on that button, you'll be notified via the Creative Cloud for these daily creative challenges. And the second thing that you need to do is make sure that you click on the community chat, and that will bring up the Discord page where you can submit the work that you create with me and with the other daily creative challenge hosts. And you can see that people have been posting under current challenge, the recent challenge, the ones from last week, and this is the invisible person challenge. So this is some really cool work here. Awesome. As you can see, we've been doing a lot of fun projects. We also did a project where we turned objects from a photo into gold. Maybe we'll see one here. There it is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I hope that you guys are enjoying the challenges, and make sure that you come into Behance and submit your work so that me and the other Adobe mentors could give you our thoughts, opinions. If you have questions, we can answer them for you. I'm there. Sam is there. Tim, Valdir, Claudia from Print My Soul. So make sure that you go in there and check that out. Once again, that is under the community chat under behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. Also, when you submit your work, consider creating a project on Behance. And the reason that you want to do that is so that you can have an opportunity to be featured in our Creative Challenges gallery. So this is what I'm talking about here. If you go into behance.net/gallery/challenges, you can see the Creative Challenges gallery. This is a curated gallery where we displayed some of the work that has been made using the techniques in the XD Daily Creative Challenge, the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, and the Illustrator Creative Challenge. If you want to have an opportunity to be featured, make sure that you upload your work onto Behance first of all, and then make sure that you include the hashtag PS Daily Challenge under discoverability when you're making the project. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the welcome stream for this set of daily creative challenges, and I showed how to go about that process. So let me take a look at the chat and see how you guys are doing. We got Nathan from Brazil. Nice. I've always wanted to go to Brazil. It's one of the countries that I've always wanted to go that I haven't gone to yet. Canada, I've been there. Beautiful country. Awesome. Ontario. Nice. I was not too far from there when I went to Canada. Cool. Chow from NYC, New York City. Lovely place. Cool. All right, so I think it's time to get started. So what you need to do is go into behance.net/challenge/Photoshop and scroll down, and you'll see these boxes that unlock every day. And each box will contain 2 very important buttons. The white button says Get Started. When you click on that, that will open up a Dropbox link where you can download the assets that I'll be using for that particular day. And then right below that, there's a blue button that says watch video. That's where you can watch the recording. So if I go too fast, or you miss something, or you take a quick coffee break and come back and you missed the step, you can always go back and watch the replay. So you can do that there. Click on Get Started, and that will open up a PSD. I already have the PSD open in my computer, and there it is. It's just a bunch of diamonds. It is an Adobe stock image. Feel free to use the watermark version if you like. If you want to license it, totally cool, up to you. Or if you want to use a different photo, no problem. I just wanted to give you diamonds. And the reason that we're going to use diamonds is because we're going to create some bling text. If you don't know what that means, it's just basically the text that you see like on a rapper album cover. And this is where we're going. We're going to try to make that in the next 20 minutes, maybe less actually, in the next 15 minutes. So hopefully I don't go too fast, but this is where we are going. Cool. Let me just make sure that there are no questions. We got Paco in the house. Hey, Paco, good to see you. Anyway, so this is what we're going to create. And we're going to start by just working with a new document. This document is just a 1920 by 1080 document with a white background, nothing special about it. And what I'm going to start with is I'm just going to create a new background by creating a solid color fill layer by clicking on the adjustment layer icon, and it's the one at the very top. And I'm just going to fill it with black. You can use whatever color you like and press OK. I don't need this original background, so I'll just delete it by tapping on the backspace key. That's the delete key on a Mac. I'm on a Windows, by the way, so I'll always say the Windows keyboard shortcut first. Then I'm going to select the horizontal type tool, and I'm going to use a font called Copperplate Gothic Bold, and you can use whatever font that you like. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever preference you have, but that's just what I'm using. And I'm just going to make a large font, about 469 points. I'm going to click on my canvas, and I'm just going to type the word bling, but you can type whatever you want. And I'm just going to click on the move tool and then just center that. By the way, let me show you a cool trick. If you ever want to center something like right in the center of the canvas, doesn't matter where the layer is, what you can do is press Control-A on Windows, Command and the Mac to do a select all around the canvas. And then click on these align buttons with the move tool selected. So with the move tool selected, you have this align buttons here, and then it'll center it right to your selection. And since your selection is around the canvas, it centers it right in the middle of the document. So that's a quick, fast way to make sure that you center your layer right in the center of the document. Cool. And let me see if there's any questions. Awesome. Everything looks cool. What we're going to do now is work a little bit with a pattern. That way we can create the diamonds inside of the text. So we're going to create the diamonds that you see inside of there. So that's why I provided this graphic. You can use whatever diamonds you like. It really doesn't matter. It's totally up to you. I provided a whole bunch of diamonds so you could have options. So the one that I'm going to go for in this stream is the circular one, just because it's probably like one of the easiest ones to do and we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to select the elliptical marquee tool from the toolbar and then click and drag while holding shift. And actually, so I have my Photoshop set to work in the old way of holding shift. I'm old school, so I'm not used to the not holding shift to keep it constrained. So if you have a version of Photoshop that you haven't changed the settings to the old way of working, then you don't have to hold shift, but I have to hold shift. So I'm holding shift to keep the circle constrained, and I'm just going to make a selection around that circle or circular diamond. Then I'll go into Edit, Copy, File, New, and Create, and Paste. And there's my diamond right there, this tiny little guy right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate it so that I can create a seamless pattern. And I'm going to go into Image, Canvas Size, and I'm just going to make the canvas larger, not the image, the canvas. And you'll see what I mean by that. And I'm just going to make it, I don't know, we'll make it 400 wide and 500% tall. And you can see now that we have just a larger canvas. And when you have the Move tool selected, and you hold Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, you can click and drag to duplicate a layer. See that? See how I'm just duplicating that layer? By just holding Alt and dragging, like so. Pretty cool stuff. And I'm just gonna keep duplicating that same layer. And if you want to, so that the diamonds don't all look the same, you can rotate the 3 in the center, not the ones on the side. We're gonna need the ones on the side to be exactly the same rotation. So I'm just gonna rotate the other ones so that they look different, right? So it doesn't look like just like the same thing duplicated over and over again. And what I'm gonna do now is select these guys here. Actually, I'm gonna select them all. Select all these guys and press Control E, Command E on the Mac to merge them all into a group. Because I just actually, you know what? I'll keep it non-destructive. Instead of merging them into a layer, I'll just merge them into a group. So Control G, Command G on the Mac. That way I can edit them later if I need to. And I'm just gonna move them to the top here and kind of place them right about here or so. And then move these down like right about there. And I guess I'll do one more set. And actually what I'll do is I'll duplicate this set. That way I don't have to like move anything. So I can put that there and I can put that one up here. And what I need to do now is simply drag a guide to the center of that set right there. If you don't see your guides, you can press Control R, Command R on the Mac to enable and disable the rulers, and then you can drag a guide down. And then on the very bottom one, that one right there, I'll do the same thing. Drag a guide right into the center. And then I'll click on the crop tool and crop to that area like so. And I'll disable my background, so I have a white background. And then I can go into Edit, Define Pattern, and just call it bling, or whatever you want to call it. And now I have a pattern that will replicate these diamonds over and over and over and over again. So if I go back into my text layer, double click to the side of the layer to bring up the layer style window. Under pattern overlay, the last pattern that I created will become the pattern that shows up. So you can see that that's there, and then I can adjust the size of my diamonds, whatever size I want them to be. Maybe you want them to be really, really big or really, really small. Totally up to you, but your diamonds are now on the text layer, which is super cool. And I'm gonna set my scale to 25% and press OK. Cool. And I'm going to zoom into the layer so that we can see what we're doing. And I'm still gonna work with text layers, so I don't know why I took out my layer style window, but you can just double click on the word effects and it'll bring it back up. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to apply a stroke, but I'm going to reset it to default so that we can start from scratch together. And what I'm gonna do is under fill type, I'm gonna change that to gradient. And I'm gonna make a stroke that's about 20 pixels like so, and I want it on the outside of the text, not inside. And I can now change the gradient. So let me just double click on here to bring up the gradient editor. And I can now add some points here. So maybe one here at about, you see where it says location, like right here, location. I'll just add one at about 30. And I'll add another one here about 80. And I'll make that one like a darker gray. And this one just a very light gray, like so. Maybe something like that. And maybe this is too dark also, so I'll brighten that up. So we have this cool metal looking shine thing. Then we're going to add a bevel and emboss, but I'll reset it to default again so that we all are looking at the same thing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply a style to the stroke. So then my bevel now is only going to affect the stroke. And this is the cool thing. Look what happens to the stroke that I made when I adjust the bevel. See that? It affects just the stroke. And the cool thing is if you make the size of the bevel the same size as the stroke, then you can create like this ring around the bevel. So I set the size to 20, which is the same size that I had my stroke set to. And then I can adjust the technique to maybe chiseled hard, and I can just adjust the depth. See that? We create this really cool effect. And if we want to make it more like, contoury with like edges and super cool, we can go into the gloss contour and then select a different gloss contour. See that? See how there's different ones look different? So I'll probably select this one here. And at this point, if you want to, you can come back into the stroke and you can adjust your gradient overlay. So maybe I think that this might be a little too bright, so I can adjust it. See how I'm adjusting that? And also, if you don't want to have a black and white, like a silver stroke, you can make it even change the color at this point. So maybe I'll make it gold. So like I can come in here and just start selecting golden colors. So maybe, you know, these types of, actually gold is more like orange. So maybe I'll bring that down. And you can adjust this any way that you want. In this type of project, you will have to do a lot of fine tuning. So I'm just showing you the technique, but feel free to use whatever colors that you like and whatever manner that you like. So let me see, just trying to make it look more golden, and I'll press OK, and I'll zoom out just so that we can see what we got. So we have like our cool bling text. And another cool thing that you can do is you can come back into the effects panel and then start adding other types of adjustments. For example, an inner glow, just because a title, and actually, you know what? I'm going to make myself bigger because I want to make a point. All right, I'm going to make a point. Just because a label in Photoshop says that it's made for something doesn't mean that that's the only thing you need to use it for. So it's very important to understand how the tool or the option or the slider works so that you can make it do whatever you want. So in this case, I'm going to use a glow, but I'm not going to use it for a glow. I'm going to use it for a shadow. And the reason being is that it gives me the effect that I want to go for. So just because it says glow, it doesn't mean I have to use it for a glow. I could use it for anything else. Anyway, that was me just making myself bigger on screen to drive that point home. Don't just use the tools in Photoshop based on their label. Use them for whatever you want. So with this glow, I'm going to change the color to black and change the blending mode to normal. And notice now that I have this shadow inside the text. See that? See now I have a shadow just going around the contours of the text. So, and I can adjust the choke and opacity and do whatever I like to this text. Then I can add a gradient overlay. Again, I'll reset it to default and I'll select one that's going from black to white, and I'll change the blending mode to overlay and then adjust the opacity however you like, just to make it look like there's some actual light going in there. Cool. So this is the main effect, but we can actually enhance it by duplicating the bling layer or your text layer. So I'll press Ctrl J on Windows, Command J on the Mac. And I'm going to now show you this cool trick. First of all, I'm going to right click on this FX icon and select Clear Layer Styles to remove the layer styles from that top layer. The bottom layer is still there. See that? Still there. So see, just the regular text layer now, right? And this one's disabled for now because I want to show you guys something. So with this blink copy enabled, if you bring up the layer style window and you reduce the fill opacity to 0, the layer becomes invisible. But now the only pixels that are going to be visible are the pixels that you're going to create through the layer style window. So for example, if I add let's say an inner glow, and this time I'll keep it as a glow. Whoops, I actually made my default glow. But anyway, so we have I actually clicked on make default, so now my default glow is black, but I'll change it later. It doesn't matter. The point is that now every pixel that I create will only be visible if it's made by the layer style window. So the original layer is not showing up. See that? See how the original text layer is no longer showing up if I bring the fill to 0. So bringing the fill to 0 makes the layer invisible, but if you add a layer style, the layer style will appear. See that? So what I can do now is I could enable my bling layer and then double click to the side of this bling copy, and I can start adding a different bevel. I'll reset it to default to the outside of my outer ring there. See, an outer bevel. And now I can increase the depth and the size. See that? See how it just gives me just way more control of how this particular ring outside of my text looks, because now I have 2 layers controlling it. And I can maybe adjust the second one to like overlay and maybe increase the opacity, and then you can adjust this accordingly. See that? Complete control over how the inner part of that bevel looks just by adding a second layer, setting the fill to 0, and then just adding an outer bevel. See that? Outer bevel just to that ring part. Super, super cool. And let me see if there's any questions. We have about 4 minutes. Cool. Is there a difference between using a solid color on a new layer and a new layer filling the back? There is no difference of using a solid color like I did here. I just like using it better because, you know, I can just double click on it and change the color if I want to. But I mean, there's really no big difference. It's really, at the end of the day, it'll give you the same result. Cool. There's I only have 3 minutes and I want to finish, but there's a question about changing the shift key back to the old way. I have a video on my YouTube channel about that. So if you go to Photoshop training channel, there's like a whole 10-minute video on like how to change it back and why you should or shouldn't do it. So check that out. So it's on my YouTube channel, Photoshop training channel. Cool, so we have about 3 more minutes, and let me create one more document, and I'll just make it, I don't know, let's see, 1920 by 1080 will work probably. And I'm just going to press Control-I, Command-I on the Mac to invert so that I have a black background, and then I'm gonna go into Filter, Render, Lens Flare, and from here I'm just gonna click and drag and place my flare right there, right in the center, so it's like perfectly in the center, or as close as perfect as you can be, and then change the lens type to 35mm prime and adjust it accordingly, maybe like right about here, and press OK. Then I'm going to desaturate the layer. I'm going to take the color away, so I'm going to press Control-Shift-U, that's Command-Shift-U on a Mac, and I'm going to go into Image, Adjustment, and Curves, and I'm just going to give it a lot of contrast here, just so that basically the only thing that I see is that inner shine and not anything else. And this is going to be the highlights that you saw on those diamonds. I'll press OK. Then I'm going to press Control-Alt and the number 2. Control-Alt and the number 2. Control-Alt and the number 2, that loads the luminosity of a layer as a selection. I said it 3 times for Windows, not even once for Mac, so I guess I'll say it for the Mac. Command-Option number 2. Command-Option number 2 for the Mac loads the brightness of a photo as a selection. So now I can create a new layer and fill that selection with white. White is my foreground color, so I'll tap Alt and Backspace. So now I have this layer here. Control-D, Command-D to deselect. So see, I have just like this layer. And I can click and drag that into my working document, and I can drop it in here, and I can place it on top of everything else. And I can just click and drag to transform it and just place it wherever I want my highlights to be. Like so, and actually, you know what? I don't like that. I'm gonna try it again. Let me try that again. Right about there. There you go. And you can just start duplicating it using the same technique I used earlier by selecting the Move tool, holding the Alt key, Option on the Mac, and then just click and drag and duplicate it and place it anywhere else that you like. Obviously, I'm not going to spend too much time because we only have a few more minutes. Actually, we don't have a few more minutes. We are almost out of time. But anyway, guys, this is basically the completed effect. I hope that you like this technique. I would love to see the work that you create. Make sure that you submit it onto Discord to the current challenge tab so that I can see the work that you create. If you have any questions, you can drop them there. Also, make sure that you go into behance.net/challenge/Photoshop and click on this big blue button to join the challenge with me. We'll be back again tomorrow for another awesome stream. And if you want to follow along, make sure you click on the Get Started button here to download the file, and you can watch the replay for this video by clicking on the Watch Video button for the fancy text challenge. on May 18th. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate having you here with me. Stay tuned, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. All right, guys. See you guys later. Bye.